What's up guys, Gypsy back here today bringing you my week 4 match in the NPL. This week we're going up against my friend Toptierboy aka Sebastian. If you guys haven't heard about Sebastian, I definitely recommend you go and check him out. He just recently hit 100 subscribers on his channel, and it would mean a lot to me if you go and sub to him and check out his channel, because he makes really good videos. He makes really funny edits in his videos, which I personally really like, and he makes really competitive laddering sessions on the OU ladder, as well as really nice tournament play. He's a really solid. He's quite new to Smogon from what I've heard, but he's really made his mark, and he's proven himself to be a really solid up and coming tournament player, as well as a league player. He's got a really threatening team, as you guys can see here to the right, and you know, we're really going to have our work cut out for us. He really, I don't know, our matchup is interesting to say the least. But yeah, if you guys haven't checked out Sebastian, go and check him out. I'm going to leave his link in the description below. Without further ado, let's jump into the team we're bringing this week. Now, as you can see, I've got Stunfisk already up here. He's actually in the middle of the team, but we'll start off with Stunfisk. Stunfisk is coming today to check, mainly to check things like the Mega Manetric. Also here to perform a pretty interesting role in the form of trapping things, like say for instance he's I'm expecting something maybe possibly like a Magnet Rise Mega Manetric, just if he wants to kind of, you know, come up with a way to really take on my Stunfisk. Or I don't know if he's like a Toxic or HP Ice variant of Manetric. I've got the Infestation there to just get some nice chip damage on it. It'll allow me to, you know, keep it in, get him trapped, and then just fire off some discharges, and then I can rest up comfortably on the Mega Manetric if he does want to Toxic me. That's not really the end of the world, because I can just hit that rest. Infestation is also really nice because it allows me to trap things like Hooper. It allows me to trap things like Skarmory, who may want to pivot around, you know, switching his Skarmory on a potential Earth Power from Stunfisk, and then pivoting out to something like a Diggersby or his Gastrodon. The Infestation just locks him in place, meaning he can't switch out. So as kind of gimmicky as it may seem, it's, you know, it has the potential to do a lot of work, and it does give me nice chip damage versus his fatter walls who think they can just wall me. It also allows me to lock Clef in place, and Clef is a massive problem to my team. We'll get into some of the few ways I have to check it as we go on, but Clef is an issue, and if I can force him to stay in with Infestation, if I can trap him, then you know, him pulling doubles on my potential switch out won't be possible. So that is actually pretty nice. Infestation's a pretty nice move here, but that's Stunfisk's job, and I do expect him to put in a fair amount of work this match if you know, we can play him properly. But going to the start of the team, we have my Weavile. Now Weavile, we are bringing Banded Weavile this game. We're bringing Adamant. The reason for this is, you know, Adamant Band Weavile doesn't have too many switch-ins on his team. Obviously Skarm can take, you know, Skarm is so fat it takes any hit from Weavile comfortably, but the idea behind this is I have multiple ways of taking down Skarm. The good thing about Weavile is that it can Pursuit Trap Hooper, which is a massive problem to my team. With the Adamant Band, Pursuit is huge damage versus the Hooper, even if it wants to stay in. And if it's choice locked, if it's locked into like a Dark or a Psychic move, then Pursuit's going to take it out regardless, because if he stays in he gets tier code, if he switches out he gets O-code. So Weavile is really nice for me. It's really nice late game, just spamming Icicle Crash if need be. Ice Shard is really nice priority, doing almost 50% to, or doing around 50% to Mega Manetric, as long as I'm not intimidated. So that's really nice. That's really solid. I just need to wear down the Manetric a bit, and then Weavile can come in and do some good work versus the Manetric, thinking you can tank a, you know, like a Life Orb Jolly or a Life Orb Adamant, Ice Shard. Knockoff obviously is really nice versus this team. If I can knock off the Clef's lefties, that'll be huge. If I can knock off like the Gastrodon's lefties, that would be big for my my Emboar. Obviously things like Uxie don't really want to take a knockoff from a Banded Weavile, so Weavile is there to just really hit things hard and potentially put in the work late game. I'm feeling as though Emboar can open up holes for Weavile this match. If Toptierboy does bring the mons I'm thinking, but we'll see how it goes. Either way, I feel as though Weavile's going to put in the work. So next up we have Zapdos, and Zapdos is here to take on the Skarmory. He can wear it down. Obviously, you can take it out with Discharge if it's low, or If its sturdy's broken, he can defog rocks away. I don't want him stacking hazards. He has the potential to easily stack hazards versus my team, and I don't want to be vulnerable to that. So we are running the defog Zapdos this week. Now the defensive spread on Zapdos is primarily for the Hooper. It allows me to take any hit from Hooper and then proceed to U-turn out. U-turning into the Weavile. Now if he doesn't, it's possible that he may not expect a U-turn. U-turn, while it won't kill a Hooper, it'll do huge damage. It'll put him in range, any variant, even like a Bug Resist Berry variant, it'll put him in the range to die from a Banner Pursuit from Weavile. And as I said, no variant of Hooper can kill this Zapdos. And the nice thing about this is I'm guaranteed to underspeed the Hooper, obviously any variant, just because I'm running the sassy minor speed nature, meaning that I will get a slow U-turn into my Banner Pursuit user. That's also pretty nice versus things like Manectric, because I can roost up on T-Bolts and such. If I do manage to get like some chip damage up on Manectric, it's kind of, it's nice to have something that can roost up on it and then pivot out with the U-turn. I've got U-turn obviously over Volt Switch because of Hooper and because of the Gastrodon possibility that he may bring the Gastrodon. U-turn is just nice to be able to switch out into either my Weavile or my Whimsicott. So that's the necessary means for Zapdos right here, and we're just going to Stip Stunfisk and jump right onto Emboar. Now my second ban user, we are bringing banned Emboar just because it does so much work this game. If you look, it does huge damage to his team, but it's not the fact that I'm going to play it recklessly and be like, oh, just send ban Emboar in and just do it. Emboar is basically here to check Carmine Clef, because Carmine Clef, I am expecting a max defense Clef, and it is a roll to take him out. Banded Adamant Fleblitz can kill a physically defensive Clef, a max Clef, and that is really important, because even if I don't kill him, I can put him in range to die from Banner Pursuit from Weavile. So Clef, if I keep these two guys around, Clef will not be an issue. If it's a Cosmic Power variant, then we could, it's going to be a tougher time, but we do have Whimsicott in the back as well. We'll get to that soon. But adding something else to this. I do obviously have the Mega Pinsir on my team, as you can see. I do expect Toptierboy to prepare for that. Sebastian, why do I keep calling that? I do expect Seb to prepare for Mega Pinsir, because it is such a monster, and he kind of has to. If he doesn't prepare for it, then he's going to be screwed over by it if I do bring it. So I do expect either Skarm, the possibility of Skarm, Manectric, and Regirock, or maybe even just two of those, but at least two, I would say. Bringing Mega Pinsir isn't really a good bring versus his team. Although, if I do manage to get rid of his checks, then it just has a field day versus his team, outspeeding everything and just dealing massive damage. Priority is really nice for things like Breloom. Return obviously versus the Clefable and the Hooper, but I feel as though he just has too many fantastic checks to it. He's actually got a pretty nice matchup versus my team, in my opinion. But that is the reason for a lack of Mega Pinsir on here, as you can see. But Emboar is basically here, punch holes in his team, take out Clef if possible. Although I am expecting the Regirock, so I'm gonna have to predict around. It's gonna be tough, because if he brings the Regirock and the Clef, I'll be forced into a situation where I can't really afford to predict him to not switch out, because if he doesn't switch out with Clef and stays in like Moonblast or T-Wave, then Emboar is going to be in a really tough spot, because I do need to, as you can see, I've got heavy HP investment, and that's because I want to be able to take repeated Flareblitz recalls and not go down to the recall. So if he switches in his Reggie, then I just lose a lot of momentum if I don't predict it right. But then if I mispredict and he stays in and I Superpower or Focus Punch, then we're going to be in big trouble. So it is a lot safer for me to just spam Flare Blitz unless I can, unless I'm really feeling myself and I can just fire off a Focus Punch or a Superpower. Once I determine the Regirock set, obviously that'll make it a bit easier if he does bring it. But anyway, that is the point of Emboar this match. Pretty self-explanatory. Sucker Punch is nice for priority in the back if he does want to go like a Trick Room Hoover route and just out-slow my whole team. But I am running a pretty slow Emboar, so I don't know. I don't think that's likely, but it is possible, considering I do have a fast team in a sense, and his speed tiers aren't that great apart from Mega Manectric, so that's always a possibility. But otherwise, Sucker Punch is pretty nice if that is the situation that unfolds. But next up we have Mew, and Mew bringing something a little bit different this week. I'm bringing an offensive Mew. Now, I'm bringing Roost, obviously for recovery. I'm bringing Energy Ball to hit things like the Gastrodon, hit things like the Regirock and the Diggersby. The beautiful thing about this is, in tandem with Emboar, if I can weaken the Gastrodon as well as the Regirock with the Energy Ball, then Emboar has a much nicer time versus his team. I've got U-turn for momentum, U-turn primarily here for Hooper. I'm speed creeping a max speed Hooper. If I can get the U-turn off, it doesn't kill unless he's like a minus defense nature, seeing as I am timid, but it'll put him in range to die from anything from Weavile. I'll happily sack off something like Stunfisk or Zapdos if I do have Emboar around still to take on the Scum in order to remove Hooper if he does bring it, just because it is such a massive threat. I can also pivot into my Whimsicott off the Mew if I predict a Dark type attack. Nonetheless, Mew is here. I've got the Flamethrower for the Skarmory, as well as the Breedloom if he does bring it, because it OHKOs with the investment that I have. Now, the reason I'm carrying Lumberry is okay, so if you guys can see that, Seb has a Breedloom on his team, and my last one you can see here is Whimsicott. Now, Whimsicott, while it appears to be a fantastic check to Breedloom, Seb's a really good player. Seb is a really solid player. He's already proved himself to be really creative and really solid builder and player so far in the NPL this season. So I also know he preps and builds and mocks against some masterminds, so I am predicting the Sludge Bomb. I'm predicting the Sludge Bomb bring on Breedloom. It seems like a logical idea to me. So whilst Whimsicott is a fantastic switch into like a standard Life Orb attacking Breedloom, it gets OHKO'd by a jolly Sludge Bomb from a Breedloom. So there is the problem. I don't want my initial Spore switch in to be Whimsicott, because the Sludge Bomb is a pretty nice bring on his part. So we have Mew here. If he does want to spam Spore, then if he's not carrying the Sludge Bomb and I recklessly switch in Mew, then as he spams Spore, it's not the end of the world. Lumberry can pop it. I can gain momentum with U-turn if he wants to switch out. It's kind of like a one-time scout for Sludge Bomb. I don't really lose anything by it. He's not gonna Bullet Seed. He's highly unlikely to like Muck Punch or Bullet Seed or Superpower. Even if he does, it's not going to take out Mew. He's more than likely to Sludge Bomb or Spore. In either situation, Lumberry is nice here on Mew. I was considering Safety Goggles, however, if he doesn't bring Sludge Bomb, then Safety Goggles are wasted, because Whimsicott is such a fantastic switch into non-Sludge Bomb Breedloom. So if he doesn't bring the Sludge Bomb, Safety Goggles are a waste on Mew. And Lumberry, I just felt fit it kind of better this week. If he wants to go for something like T-Wave Clef, I can Lum, I can synchronize the Para over the Clef, and I can heal off the Para, and then just U-turn out into my Stunfisk or my Zapdos or something like that. So that is the thought process behind this Mew. It's mainly that to weaken his it's another thing here to weaken his bulky walls. It's to make Emboar and Weavile's life a lot easier. So lastly, we have the Whimsicott. Now Whimsicott is here again, speed creeping, max speed Hooper. Encore is really nice for Clef. Encore is a potential godsend for Clef, because if it does want to calm mind up and he's not a mental herb set, which is kind of bad because he needs the lefties to avoid Tuhiko from, I think it's like a jolly banned Weavile. He needs leftovers to guaranteed avoid the Tuhiko. So although I am adamant banned, so that doesn't matter for us, but lefties is just better all around on Clef versus my team, or something like a Resist Berry. But Encore, as I said, Encore is really nice versus the Clef. Encore is pretty solid versus a few other of his members. If he's like Diggersby, he's like a SD variant or an Agility variant, then Encore's pretty nice. If he's like a setup Uxie or something of that nature, if he's a setup Dusclops, Encore is just really clutch. Moonblast, obviously, to smack a lot of his members hard, killing Breedloom, dealing over 60 to Hooper. And I've got the Giga Drain there for the Gastrodon OHKOing it, unless it's a Rindo Berry variant. So I'm predicting it to be like a max defensive Gastro if he does want to bring it. But Rindo would be quite obvious. Now the good thing about this is I have a couple of ways to between Mew and Whimsicott. If he's Rindo Berry, I pop it. Either of the two mons pop the Rindo Berry, and if he wants to switch out, like say I pop it, with Whimsicott, and he switches in his Gastrodon later in the match on Mew, then the energy ball will guarantee take it out. So that is the thought process there. Again, U-turn for momentum after I encore something. U-turn versus the Hooper is really nice too. And if I encore the Clef, I can U-turn out and just get momentum, and momentum is key in this match, as I do have 2 breakers, and I do have Mew, which is another momentum grabber, as well as a kind of wall breaker to an extent. So there we have the team, guys. I feel as though I've prepped adequately for this match. I'm definitely not going into this too confident, because whilst I do, firmly believe in myself, Sebastian is, as I said, a really strong player, and he has a pretty insane team. And I know he knows how to use it. That's the thing. He's one of the few players in draft, apart from Jolt, that I've seen use Clef Fable effectively. So whilst he has been crit, well, he has been hacked with Clef a bit. The man knows how to use it properly. So that is definitely something I'm concerned about. But without further ado, I'll end the team builder there, and I'll be back soon with the actual match. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Alright, welcome back, guys. We are here with my match versus Toptierboy, Sebastian, and I'm excited to bring it to you guys. As you can see, Seb has not elected to bring Hooper or Gastrodon, and that is pretty big. He has opted to bring, he's got all the Mega Pinsir checks on deck. He's got the Mega Manectric, Skarm, and the Reggie, so he prepped really well. Props to him for prepping for that Mega Pinsir. You have to prep for it, otherwise it's going to destroy your team. That's as simple as it is. But the fact that he didn't bring Hooper really interests me. He elected to bring Diggersby over Hooper or Gastrodon, so that was really interesting, and I'm pretty happy about that. But that being said, Diggersby is a massive problem to my team, because I'm running a more offensive team this week, and I don't really have a switch in per se. Zapdos can eat at any hit, but if he's like Adamant Band, and I think Zapdos actually goes down to Adamant Band, and I can't really do much back to it. So Diggersby's a problem. I do have Mew to take it on. I do have Weavile with a banded Ice Shard. I've got Sucker Punch on Emboar. I've got Giga Drain on Whimsicott, but I don't have a switch into it. So that's going to be interesting. I figured he'd lead off with either his Breloom, in which case Mew is a fantastic lead. I can eat a Spore, I can Flamethrower, breaking his Sash. If he wants to lead off with Regirock, I can Energy Ball, then U-turn next turn into my Zapdos to defog the rocks away. If he wants to go into Skarm, he wants to lead off with Skarm, I can Flamethrower. If he wants to lead off with Diggersby, that will give me really good information. Because I am creeping a max speed Diggersby, I can get an Energy Ball off. If he does outspeed me, U-turn does not take me out, nor does Knockoff, and I can Scatter Set. If he outspeeds, then he Scarf, and I live. If he's banned with Knockoff, then I die, but at least I know it's set, and I get the Energy Ball damage off on the Diggersby. However, I would like to keep Mew around, as obviously it is my switch into Breloom if he does want to go for the Sludge Bomb. But anyway, we'll jump into the match. We'll see how it goes. I choose to lead off with Mew, as he leads off with his Diggersby. Now, that's pretty nice for us. I just opted to fire off the Energy Ball here. I ran the calc, and a Scarf Diggersby does not kill me with any hit, so given the 180 EVs or 160 EVs I have in HP, so that was pretty nice for us. As he goes for the return, now this really confused me. He got actually absolute min roll in that return, and this actually is not as good as it sounds for me. The reason being, I was confused as to whether he was either Jolly Band or Silk Scarf. Now, the fact that it did such a low roll, consider he revealed to me after the match he was actually Jolly Band, and whilst you could say it was bad that he got the min roll, it really put me in a situation where I thought he was Silk Scarf, and although Silk Scarf seems kind of strange versus my team, if he was, then that was definitely Silk Scarf damage. Then a quick attack Silk Scarf quick attack, would have been able to take out Mew at this range. So I was pretty unsure. I felt as though Silk Scarf was a strange bring versus my team, but that damage roll just really threw me. So right here, I just fire off the Flamethrower just in case he wanted to switch into Skarmory or his Breloom on a potential Energy Ball. I was banking on the fact that he was locked in right here, or wouldn't have quick attack, as he brings in his Manectric, and I get the Flamethrower off it, which is pretty nice. I put Manectric in range to die from a highish roll from Weavile's Ice Shard. Obviously, as long as I'm not intimidated, but now I can just go into my switch and my Stunfisk, and Stunfisk is nice this play. I thought, this play, it was possible he'd go into Diggersby, but I felt as though he may pivot into his Skarm on a potential Earth Power. So I go for the Infestation here. If he does go into Scarm, I can trap it with the Infestation and discharge it down until it dies. He just goes into his Diggers, but he makes a nice play, you know, getting in before Rocks. Not that he would have taken Rocks damage, but he just gets it in. Maybe if I'd gone for the Earth Power, he was sacking it off there as, I guess, you know, maybe he didn't predict me to go for the Earth Power, he just wanted to get Diggers in on a potential Toxic or something of that nature. And now he is pretty free to just fire off another attack. I actually sack off Mew right here. While it would have been nice to keep Mew around, it was only healing up on... it was healing up on the Clef, it was healing up on the Scarm and the Reggie, but it was my best sack at this point. I needed everything else in my team. I needed Zapdos for the Scarm, I needed Zapdos for the Reggie and the Manectric, to defog for the Reggie, I mean. Obviously he doesn't really want to take Stone Edges and such, but it's a nice switch into Manectric as well, because I am so especially defensive. So Mew, Mew didn't really do much this game, but it did allow me to scout the Diggersby set, and it was sack fodder right here. So Mew goes down. I can just bring in my Weavile and just Pursuit Trap the Diggersby here. I don't want him bringing Diggersby back later on in the game and firing off a really powerful return or something versus my team. So I just get rid of the threat right here. And right now, we go into Zapdos because I really felt as though the Sludge Bomb was coming, as we do see the Sludge Bomb come off from the Breloom there, and he gets the Poison here. Now, while it's unfortunate in the sense that you know, Zapdos is now hindered in its effectiveness to War Manectric, because you know it's taking, along with lefties, it's taking 6% each turn from the poison damage, so that's not too nice versus me, but it does give me a more reliable, now a guaranteed switch into the Breloom, considering his Sludge Bomb. The fact that he's Sludge Bomb makes me think that he's likely Sludge Bomb, Spore, Mac Punch, and then Seed, like a Grass type coverage, maybe Bullet Seed for my Alomomola. So Zapdos, in my mind, is now a pretty nice switch into the Breloom. So while it sucks, it's also a blessing in disguise in a sense. So I'm not too phased by it, but obviously, you know, poison damage isn't too nice for Zapdos, considering it is a more bulky set. But we'll live. So right here. He's not going to want to stay in with his Breloom, as he just goes out to his Clefable, as I just take this opportunity to go for the U-turn, pivoting out, expecting the switch out. And now I just go into my Emboar, knowing I can fire off a Flare Blitz, and we're at the point, I see lefties, right, so I know he's not like a berry, he's most likely max defense. I can't risk a T-Wave, I can't risk a Moonblast because I need the health on Emboar, so I just fire off a Flare Blitz as he makes the nice switch into his reliable check right here. Banded Superpower would have done like mid to high 80s, considering I am adamant. Focus Punch would have brought him down to his Sash, his Sturdy, I assume he is Sturdy, on his Regirock, so either way, I wouldn't have killed right there, but because he is Sturdy, but I just go for the Flare Blitz. I get the burn, so we get some revenge status right there a couple of turns later. So whilst you know it is revenge status in a sense, the burn was kind of more of a hindrance for him than the poison was for me, in the sense that Zapdos has an easier time defogging on this Reggie now, as now I just send in my Zapdos here, expecting him to Stealth Rock up on my Emboar, as I can just go for the defog right here. And the fact that he's burned means that I'm going to have an easier time stomaching any rock coverage move he wants to go for my Zapdos, but he just stays in and spams Stealth Rock. You know, as I said, Seb's a really good player. He knows that keeping up Stealth Rock is in his best interest, and the fact that I do outspeed the Reggie, defogging is kind of useless on my part, but if he does choke at this point and goes for like a Stone Edge or something, I can discharge the next turn and take him out. But with having rocks off my side of the field, he just remains setting Stealth Rocks, as this turn he now switches down to his Manectric as I go for the discharge this turn, thinking it's not worth wasting any more time. If I were to defog again there, I would have only been in a situation where I would have been at less health than I currently am at 88%. So right here I go for the discharge, as in comes the Manectric, and that it takes still 25% is quite a bit. It's definitely now in range to die from Weavile's, either Weavile's Pursuit or Weavile's Ice Shard, so that's really nice for me. I can defog here, and because of my special defense investment, I am able to tank 2 T-Bolts from this range, from that range, 1 T-Bolt at this point, so now I can just roost up, as in comes the monster that is Clef, and this is definitely a problem. Clef is certainly a problem for my team. I decide to U-turn out here. I just go out straight into my Stunfisk, as Stunfisk Stunfisk is kind of good in this matchup because I can trap Clef with the Infestation, and while Magic Guard renders the chip damage from Infestation useless, it does lock the Clefable in place. So now we get into kind of a bit of mind games, because if I lock him in place and he keeps Carmining up and I pivot out to my Whimsicott, he actually T-Waves there expecting me to switch. So that was a nice prediction on his part. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because if I switch out to my Whimsicott and Encore him on a U-turn, on a Carmine or a Soft Boiled, I get huge momentum the next turn with U-turn, and momentum, as I said, is key. I have 2 breakers, but Seth knows this. You know, he's a really solid player, so I just stay in, trying to spam some discharges, trying to get the Parrot on the Clef. we both are packing means of the dirty yellow color, so there's kind of a mutual understanding there of how good it is in this game. So he goes for the Moonblast. I switch out there predicting him to Carmine, and he just stays in. He makes the good play and just Moonblast. I haven't shown off Rest at this point, so he doesn't know that, you know, spamming Moonblast is not really in his best interest at this point. Boosting up would have been better, but he does go for the Moonblast as he makes the great play and hits my Whimsicott for big damage, and I can't Encore him into Moonblast and get taken out there, so I just U-turn back out into my Stunfisk. So it's not looking too good at this point, because Clef is a threat. Clef can boost up, and if I predict wrong and switch Whimsicott into another Moonblast, then I'm going to be in some trouble. As right here, he just goes for the second Moonblast. He keeps getting these special attack drops, which kind of sucks, but you know, it is what it is. Discharge isn't really doing much anyway. I just rest up here because I know the next one after this is going to take me out as he does outspeed me. And this may also encourage him to start boosting up. He goes to the Moonblast there, the safe first Moonblast, which I agree with in case I did switch out to my Whimsicott. Right here would have been a good switch out now in this upcoming turn, but I stay in and burn another sleep turn as he just goes for the Carmine right here. So I come to the assumption that Stunfisk is actually going to lose this. It's more, you know, in my best interest to lose Stunfisk than it is to lose Whimsicott, as Whimsicott is really nice with the Moonblast versus the Breloom. I can tank a ban Mark Punch, not that he's banned, but I can tank a ban Mark Punch if I need to from the range of health that I'm at with my health investment. And I know that I can take the Whimsicott. Sorry, I know that I can take the Clefable out with a ban Fleblis from Emboar. So this is just a bit of stalling back and forth. If I can wear down his Moonblast PP on the switch out, you know, with my Stunfisk, and I force him to switch with my Emboar, then the pressure from my Zapdos, if he wants to stay in, is going to just really wear down his Moonblast if he switches back in later on in the game. Maybe I can even PP stall him out right here, but later on in the game, after all this. So I just go for the rest, the discharge this turn, just getting the slightest bit of chip damage, but he just heals it back up with lefties. And now Stunfisk, its only real role right here is just stalling out the PP of Clefable's Moonblasts. As this is a pretty stally part of the match, I'll just speed it up while we go through this part. He gets a few paras. You can see Moonblast is now doing over 50% to my especially defensive Stunfisk, so Clef is getting really strong, and he gets another Moonblast to take out my Stunfisk. So right here, I just go back into my Emboar, as Emboar can take out, depending on, unless I get like absolute min roll, I do take out the Clef with Fleblitz. So he helps to sack off his Reggie Rock, which is a good play on his behalf. As now he can just bring in the Manectric, which really threatens my team. But because of my massive HP investment, I can easily tank a Volt Switch. It still does a decent chunk, but the Flame, the Fleblitz will now bring the Breloom down to a Sash. He goes for the Sash. Now I am severely weakened at this point. I can't afford Emboar to go down here, so right here I just go out into my Zapdos as he just opts to go for Mach Punch right here. So maybe predicting me to stay in right there, but I wasn't gonna keep in my Emboar on the Breloom. So now I just go for the U-turn right here as he goes out into his Clefable. U-turn obviously would have killed the Breloom, but momentum is really nice for me right here. So now at this point, I just opt to go for the Focus Punch. The reason being, if he wanted to go out into Scarm to make myself die from recoil, you know, that would have been a really good play. So the Focus Punch would have dealt significant damage to the Scarm, as well as guaranteed taking out the Breloom. But he just sacks off the Breloom here as a Focus Punch. It was a big gamble on my part, but I felt as though keeping my Emboar round for a potential flare blitz on either the Scum or the Clefable was really important. So in comes the Mega Manectric as I just go into my Whimsicott. Now this may seem like a silly play on my behalf, but my idea is if I sack off the Whimsicott here, Weavile can come in and pursuit. I can live Flamethrower, I can live a T-Bolt, I can live any hit. He has shown Flamethrowers, he's not overheat. With my HP investment, I can live any hit from this Manectric and take it out with pursuit, meaning that the rest of my team can take on the Clef and the Skarmory. So I just sack off my my Whimsicott right here. I wasn't actually Prankster. If I was Prankster, I would have on-called there to guarantee he didn't Volt Switch that turn, but I am Infiltrator, as you guys saw in the Team Builder, just to make sure if he's like a sub Hooper, I can U-turn out on that Hooper and penetrate the substitute. So that was really important in this match, but nonetheless, Whimsicott goes down there as in comes Weavile, and he switches out here as I pursued, so he recognized the importance of keeping Manectric around, but I did actually catch that. So in comes the Scum as I discard to my Zapdos, and he just opts to set up. Sorry, he opts to double right here, and that was a really good play on his part. You know, obviously not wanting to keep my Weavile in on a Scum. It was a pretty obvious double on his part, but it definitely paid off for him as in comes the Clef, and this is really tricky for me because again we're in a situation where I can't just willy-nilly switch out. I can't recklessly switch out into my Emboar, because if I do, then I get taken out by a Moonblast. So I have to put the Clef in a situation where it needs to heal up. Once it heals up, I can get a free switch into the Emboar on the pretty soft boiled, and from there I can either take out the Scum or the Clef respectively, and then Weavile can take out the other. The combination of Weavile and Zapdos can take out the remaining one. So that is my thought process here. He just soft boils up. Instead of playing really smart with the Clefable, as my pressure is actually wearing down his PP on his Moonblast quite a lot when he does want to go for it, but he just opts to go for the Carmine here, and this turn I felt as though switching to Emboar was too risky, as he was at a pretty high amount of health and he did have the Carmine boost up, but he soft boils there, so that would have been another good opportunity to switch out. But I want to get him to a point where he's at 50%. You know, maybe he thinks I'm just trying to stall his PP out with Moonblast. Maybe he doesn't really see into my plan, but right here we're just going to continue to get the discharges off until eventually we do get the Clef in range where he does need to heal in case I get a crit or something of that nature, as a crit does about 50%, a little bit under or over 50% depending on the roll. But right here we go for the discharge and we do get the crit doing 51% as he goes for the Carmine. Now right here I do switch out to the Emboar, as it is in his best interest to heal. He can heal up on my Zapdos pretty freely as he gets parried right here. Now Seb told me he went for the soft boiled, and I was happy for him to soft boiled. It didn't really, like, I didn't want the parry there, I didn't need it, but obviously it definitely helps. It definitely helped me, but my thought process was here, if he sacked off the Clef, then Zapdos plus Weavile beat the Scum. If he switches out to Scum in this next turn, it dies to Weavile's. If it lives on its sturdy, Emboar gets taken out by the recoil damage, and then Weavile's Icicle Crash takes out the Scum, provided I land, and then Banded Weavile takes out the Clef at that range of health. So right here he does go into the Skarmory as we just fire up that nice powerful Banded Flare Blitz, bringing Scum down to his 30, and Emboar goes down right there to life, or the recoil damage from the Flare Blitz. So my Weavile does land its first Icicle Crash. And now right here the max roll on Clef is 57%, so he is in range to die from a max roll, like a really high roll Icicle Crash. However, even if he doesn't die and he Moonblasts here, Weavile lives a hit due to my HP investment. It does a maximum of like mid 80s, and even if like he crits me right here, then Discharge will take out Clef at neutral speed F after the Icicle Crash damage. So right here I go for the Icicle Crash and I get a crit. So the crit, you know, that final crit was pretty useless, but again, obviously, like, it's annoying if he soft boiled up that turn. If I managed to get a low roll and he soft boiled up, and then I missed the next crash, then we'd be in an interesting situation. Of course, he was playing around with getting parried and such. I don't really think that that final crit mattered, but nonetheless, it was a really tense game. Seb played really well. He played really well with the Clefable, just showing what a problem it is for the team, and he built really well around it. You know, he had checks to a Flare Blitz Embor in the form of Regirock, and he prepped really well from a Mega Pinsir. So there you guys have the match. That was really exciting. As I said, if you haven't checked out Seb, Toptierboy, definitely go and check him out. Really solid player and a really cool guy. Obviously check out the rest of the NPL. We're going pretty solid so far. Next week we are up against the Detroit Leopards, coached by Cypher Blocker. I hope I'm not murdering his name. He seems like a really cool dude, and his team's pretty cool. He's got a really solid team, so I'm pretty excited to have that match. We'll see how we go. Hopefully we can keep the streak going. If you guys enjoyed, drop a like. You know, let me know what you thought of the team in the comments. The match. If you aren't already subbed, you know, feel free to sub. If you do like my content, you know, that's all that is very much appreciated. But you know, if not, it's totally cool. I hope you guys enjoyed nonetheless. And yeah, I'll see you next time.